Little bit, Parshas Vayeira. So this is fascinating that these notes, for some reason, have been sitting in a plastic thing on the dashboard of my car. I don't even know since when, since before the summer. Now I have no clue why Parshas Vayeira has been sitting on the dashboard of my wife's van since I came back from Eretz Yisrael 4 months ago. No clue. But I took it and it's been sitting on my desk, and this week I'm like, hey, what were those notes in there, Parshas Vayeira? So I sat down tonight, and I think these are notes from last year, but I enjoyed them, so I would like just to share it with you. It's a nice vart. It's basically a Chassam Sefer and Ramban, and it's a little bit classical, but I think there's a little kinech for everyone. So obviously, what are we discussing? The only thing we can discuss in Parshas Vayeira is Nisyonis. Nisyonis, we have the greatest Nisyon of all time, although we can't obviously rate Nisyonis, as we'll talk about as we go along, which is the Akedah. But what's unique in our parsha is it says, "V'lekim Nisa es Avraham," that God tested Nisa es Avraham. It comes along the Ramban, and I think we've used the word Nisayon and heard the word Nisayon probably 1,000,000 times in our life. And I don't know if we've ever heard the translation of the word Nisayon from the Rishonim. It's interesting to think about. If you were a Rishon, right? How would you translate the word? Fascinating. So there's a Ramban. The Ramban comes along and he says, I'll read you a few lines. He says, first he says that Inyan Nisayon is that a person has the control in his power to do or not to do. And he says, Yikra Nisayon. Why is it called Nisayon? Mitzad Hamenusa. The word Nisayon, says the Ramban, is a test only from the angle point of the one being tested. What does that mean? Avol Hamenasa Yisbarach, the one doing the testing, God, Yitzave Boy commands Lahoitzi Adavar Min HaKoich LaPoil, to take this entity from potential to actualization. Lias Loischar Maisatayv. So now, what just to explain for a moment is when you have an Nisayon, you have to look at it in two different ways. From the angle of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, a Nisayon is purely to give you reward. From the angle of us, a Nisayon is, how in the world am I going to overcome this? But when you're looking from God's eyes, it's not, how am I going to overcome this? It's, I'm giving you something that you could get reward. Let's go a little bit deeper. Fine. When Hashem knows about a tzaddik, and this is an important line because I think we've all heard, the nisyonis of this star are so terrible and it's so difficult. The Ramban says that nisyonis are for tzaddikim. When Hashem knows that a tzaddik is going to do his desire, and Hashem wants the tzaddik to be more righteous, that's when he gives a nisayon. V'hinei kol hanisyonei shebetayra litoivas hamenusa. We really could stop there. That's a beautiful thought. We could take that to the bank. The more you think about that, the happier a person you'll be, and the more chizik and encouragement you'll get throughout your entire life and every single stage of your day. Why? Because everything that we have in life is nisyonis. Everything. Should I wake up? Not should I wake up or not wake up. That's hopefully not a choice. We all I think, are holding at the point of waking up in the morning. Is anyone suicidal? No. He's thinking about it for a moment. But should I get up on time? Should I come to davening a little bit earlier? Should I say something nice? Should I not say something nice? Should I do a chesed? Should I not do a chesed? Should I get upset? Should I not get upset? Every single stage is a nisayon. What is the purpose? Says the Ramban. It's all litoivas haminusa, for the sake of the minusa, the one being tested. So that was, I think, pretty simple. Let's read a Chassam Sefer, and then we'll explain. It says the Chassam Sefer. He points out, look at the Ramban, that's what's an Nisayon. Va'omer ani, says the Chassam Sefer, I am talking. She'inyan hanisayon hu. She'akadosh Baruch Hu, listen to these words. Loi ya'azar es ha'adam. What's an Nisayon? Hashem says, I'm not going to help you. Rak she'tzarech be'atzmoi lizgaber al yitzroi. You have to fend for yourself. What is a nisayon? When Hashem says, I'm removing myself. Now do what you need to do. The mashal I was thinking, we're in a world of swimming pools here in Muncie. So mashal I was thinking, first I'll give you the crazy mashal. I think, anyone here could correct me, there's a thing out there that you take a baby, I've never done this, please do not call child services on me. You take a baby at a certain age and you throw them in a pool. This is what they say, and apparently has anyone ever done this?
I've heard of it.
We've all heard of it and seen the
Like
videos,
a 5,
of course.
6 month old?
Yes, and you throw the baby in the water, and you watch. At first, the baby flails and it looks pretty terrible, and all of a sudden, the baby instinctively flips itself over and floats. And they say that by doing that, the child instinctively learns how to float. That is what the tests do. No, I've never tried this, nor do I never know if I will try it. I'm not sure. Maybe we will. But what's pshat? How it works, that's up to God. But now let's just go slow-mo over there. You take the baby, and you throw this baby in the water. The baby's flailing, the baby's screaming for the first few seconds. So any normal parent is going to do what right now? Take the kid out of the water. The kid's going to chas v'shalom drown. No, because if you take the kid out of the water, he'll never learn how to float. So you sit there and you watch the kid flail. You remove yourself from helping the child, and now the child learns how to float on its own. Whenever we have a test, Hashem is staring at us. It's all for our good. Should we get up? Should we not get up? Should we get angry? Should we not get angry? We just didn't do well over here. We just had this issue. We just had this temptation. Hashem is staring at us. Just like we're that baby flailing in the water. Hashem stares at us and says, I'm not going to help you because I want you to be able to float on your own. A nisayon, says the Chassam Sofer, is when HaKadosh Baruch Hu removes himself all for our good so we can learn how to float. That, to me, I think, is earth-shattering. And he says this answers up the famous kasha. It's a twist on the famous question. Why was it a nisayon only for Avram Avinu? Why was it a nisayon for Yitzchak Avinu? Says the Chassam Sofer, because for Yitzchak Avinu, Hashem was helping him. Since Hashem was helping him, it's not a nisayon. The nisayon is only when Hashem says, I'm not going to help you. Fend for yourself. So in reality, I really should stop now, and I have a tremendous desire to stop right now, even though we only spoke for 7 minutes, because I think this is an earth-shattering idea. So instead of stopping, I have a lot more here, but I'm not going to go further than what's here. Maybe we'll talk about this over Shabbos. I just want to play this out in 2 scenarios and go one job further into how a real life nisayon plays out. This is based on the Medrash. The Medrash says that Avram Avinu is on the way to the nisayon, on the way to the Akedah, and the Yetzer Hara appears to him as first an ocean, and then as an iron wall. And it says Avram Avinu went straight through all of it. So when you read this Medrash, something startling hits you. Avram Avinu is listening to Hashem. Hashem tells him, go shecht your son. He's going, he puts on, I'm fighting, I'm going to do this nisayon. All of a sudden, there's an ocean in front of him. Strange. All of a sudden, there's an iron wall in front of him. Stranger. He keeps on going, and he succeeds. You see something incredible from this Medrash, and it really gives a little bit of a deeper insight in what's happening during a nisayon. Is that when we think it's impossible, it's never impossible. It's fake. The Yetzer Hara, that's literally the words of the Medrash, that the Yetzer Hara appeared like an ocean. There was no ocean there. He appeared like a steel wall. There was no steel wall. How did Avram get past the ocean, get through the steel wall? By knowing it was fake, and therefore walking right through it. And I heard, I'll give you the analogy from Rabbi Elephant that I heard this afternoon, because I think we're all out of that world of a Bachar in Eretz Yisrael, so we probably now could laugh at the analogy he gives, and we probably could also appreciate how real it could have felt back then. Let me tell you the analogy. You're a Bachar in Eretz Yisrael, sitting in the mirror, you're learning, and what happens? Your best friend gets engaged. Your best friend. And the chasana is smack in the middle of winter zman. You finally just started learning, smack in the middle of winter zman. So what do you tell yourself? There is no way I'm missing this wedding. It's impossible for me to miss this wedding. I can't. It's my best friend. I grew up with him, and of course, everyone has like a million best friends all of a sudden as soon as they leave the country. And every single one, and now we start saying, no, it's not for me. The mitzvah Simchas Chasam Mekala. If I don't show up on his wedding day, he's going to be crying because he knows I'm not there. Right? Yeah. He's thinking about you on his wedding day. Yeah, I'm sure. Anyways, so what do we think? The person's like, I can't get over. So some people, they go. And I'm not weighing in, you should go, you shouldn't go, we didn't go. That's not the point. But I think now that we're not in this world, we can appreciate. In that moment, it seems impossible. But some guys say, I'm above that. You know what? I'm not going. Usually, that moment when they make the decision, they wake up the next morning, they're like, oh, I'm pretty at peace with myself. What do you mean? A moment ago you told me it was impossible. You felt like you were suffocating. You felt like it's impossible for me not to go, to the point like, I'm a Rebbe, I'm in the middle of booking the ticket, I'm going to do it, I can't. And then all of a sudden, it's not there. So I think when we're not in that world, we could look at those people and we could say, of course, what, you need to be at your friend's wedding? Grow up. What does that show us? That's all nisyonis. It's all fake. The Yetzer Hara plays out ways for us to think it's impossible. There's an ocean in front of us. There's a steel wall. I can't. Of course you could. It's all fake. The moment that you look at that brick wall, you look at the ocean and you just, it's not here. I'm just going to walk right through it. It disappears on its own. And that is the lesson of Nisyonis. And I think if we put these 2 points together and we realize that A, Hashem is doing it for our good, and not only is He doing it for our good, is He sitting there and watching us and purposely removing Himself. To me, that when the Chassam Sofer plays out that analogy is what hits home the most. Is at any moment, if we could stop, and of course it's very difficult, it's very easy now sitting here to say, yeah, call that guy, calm down, just realize it's no big deal. Obviously, whenever you're not in the moment, it's much easier. But in any time something is very difficult for us, if we were to stop and realize, 1 second, Hashem designed this for me, for my good. So now at this point, we stop and we say, no, He didn't. It can't be for my good. I'm suffocating. It can't be. What, God, you're my Father and you're doing this for me? Then think, wait. But He removed Himself purposely just so you have to get over this precise moment. That baby is sitting there. And maybe someone walking by is like yelling, go save the kid, what are you doing? And you're like, no, I'm okay. And he's sitting there, whatever you're doing with your hands, whatever it is. Because you know what's best for your child. And you know if I remove myself, the kid will learn how to swim. And then we realize, it's impossible? No, it's not. It's absolutely fake. And the moment we say no, the moment we say I can, the moment we say I'm going to go further, all of a sudden, it disappears. Obviously, the difficulty is to be able to do that. The difficulty is when one gets into a fight, is to stop and say, okay, this is fake, and let me not continue this fight. Well, shkoyach for you to say I'm in the middle of fighting. What should I do? Just stop fighting? Yeah. Go take a walk around the block, go take a breather, go smash your head against the wall, go yell at the shower, and then you'll come back and you'll realize, oh wow, there's really no reason to really be fighting right now. Because as soon as we realize I can, the whole thing disappears. And with that, I'll just conclude with the bracha of the Drashas Haran. The Drashas Haran says over here, he's talking about Avram Avinu, this Nisayin. He says that Avram Avinu says to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Amar Avram Lefnei HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Banu Shalom, Kol Yidu Lefnei HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Amarti Li Alos Yitzchak B'ni, when you told me to shech my son, says Avram Avinu, and this is an entire discussion on its own. Mir Hashem will probably talk about this on Shabbos. Avram Avinu says, give you a little taste, I koyali lahashiv v'leimer amra li, just listen to these words, Ki b'yitzli kar l'chazara. Avram Avinu says to Hashem, I could have said to you, what do you mean? You told me Yitzchak is going to be the greatest. Now you're telling me to shecht him? Avram says, I could have responded, no. What does that mean? Okay, put that on the side. Chas v'shalom lo yasisikim. Says Avram Avinu, I didn't do that. What I do, kavashti is yitzri lasu b'seinecha. I decided I'm going to listen to God. I could have said no, but I decided I'm going to follow you. Rebbeinu shalaylam. And this is the bracha every time we're oimid on Nisayin. Yiratzayin milfanecha, says Avram Avinu. Shebeshah sheyu banav shel Yitzchak. When Yitzchak Avinu's children, nichnasin, enter, lidei, Sarah, anytime we're in a bad state, and they have no one to be their defense, Atah, you Hashem, Timalamid Aleim Sanigairia, you're going to be their defense, you're going to be the one to come to save them, and you're going to be the one to remember the Akedah of Yitzchak Avinu. So hopefully, B'siyata Dishmaya, anytime we're posed with something that seems impossible, beyond us. No way. If we try to play out in our brain, which of course at that moment is so difficult, our loving Father tailor-made this for us. He's watching and he's removing himself. Why is he removing himself? He's my Father. The kid is about to jump and the father's like, jump, bye. The kid's going to splat. No, because if I catch him, he's never going to learn how to land on his own feet. If I go and I save him, he's never going to learn how to swim. And we play out, Hashem is sitting there. And now number two, is it impossible? It's the Yetzer Hara making it up impossible. It's so possible. Say I can't. We remember that kid in yeshiva and we laugh at it. And we could probably all laugh in our own lives at things that we thought were impossible, we could never do. And we could go back now and say, okay, maybe, but it was possible. And I could have done it. And then Emir Hashem will be zeichet to the bracha of Avraham Avinu, that by overcoming our nisyonis, by telling Hashem, I'm willing to dive in, Hashem will be there for us whenever we need